weeks have passed, got to make it last. Yes, I think that we can make this work. Can't tell you no lies.
Shaun was one of the beta testers for LinkedIn, so he really has the ins and outs of it. I'm just going to give a little description of him. Shaun is the founder of Cassidy Creative Solutions, which is a speaking, training, and consulting firm that helps professionals, nonprofit organizations, and corporations leverage social media, internet sales, and marketing strategies through storytelling across platforms. He has a LinkedIn profile listed within the top 1% of profiles viewed worldwide with over 30,000 first-level professional connections. If you don't know what that means you're not on LinkedIn, and you will learn what that means, okay? I think I probably have about 1,500 connections. Shaun has 30,000, so that kind of gives an example of the difference. He holds 20 plus years of experience in the field of sales and marketing, e-commerce, and social media technologies. And I want to, with a warm welcome, please welcome Shaun Cassidy. And
make sure my mic's on.
yeah, he's got his mic on, and now we have to do the technology thing and
shift this over.
Okay,
yeah.
we're going to shift this over. I'm working on getting a person who does the technology for me. You were good?
We're good. Well, I'm really grateful that everybody came here today. I know you're taking busy time out of your day to be here. I'm all about high impact when I speak, so I'm here to give you the ins and outs and to.
Do you have access to Wi-Fi?
I am up right now, actually, online.
Do you guys have access to Wi-Fi? Please raise your hand if you do not have access to Wi-Fi. Okay, well, we'll see if we can figure that out.
I don't need Wi-Fi for the presentation.
Yeah, but they wanted to get on, so, okay.
Yeah, you could, yeah, but let's see if there should be able to get it. But I think that will come along as we go, and then it'll help you out a little. So she gave a little background about myself. What she didn't tell you is how I got to be doing what I do, and I'll just get specific about that. My background is from Chicago. Some people in the room that know that. I went to the School of the Art Institute. I had in Chicago, one of the major design schools in the United States. I come from a background where my father passed away when I was 4. I put myself through college. A family of 5, Irish-American family. By the time I was 16, I paid the family bills. And by the time I was 18, I had a full ride scholarship to the School of the Art Institute. And I was a gifted artist, so that got me into Chicago, and that was a city that taught me most of everything I know right now. The diversity of life, the culture of life, everything that's about a major city. After going and put myself to college, I went into the military, U.S. Air Force, and I had a very interesting job in the U.S. Air Force. I dealt with classified information for the government. And that's what I did for the U.S. Air Force. So my job was Freedom of Information Act, Privacy Act for the U.S. Air Force. I was based at Randolph Air Force Base on a field operating agency, which means, in the military people, means you're right under the Pentagon. You don't answer to anybody but the Pentagon. And my job was to deal with classified information. So if you requested information from the government, my office was redacting it or providing it to you. That led me in a world that most people never think about data. I know that data has power. I know that some people get access to data, some people get access to information, other people do not. And when I got out of doing that, I was recruited to do the upstart of Travelocity. I was a relationship manager for Travelocity, and they're in their office in Texas. And I was approached by people here in the West Coast who were beta testing what would become the first social media, and that was LinkedIn. At that time, I had no idea what it is today, but I spent that years learning that. And I opened up hotels and restaurants for 15 years, pre-opening as a consultant, after working for Travelocity. And I would use this to virtually get inside companies. So remember after 9/11 how our country changed a lot, and we couldn't get access to people readily. So I would literally get invited into corporations and businesses through my networks, instead of actually going through gatekeepers. So we'll kind of get started Yeah, so people ask me, what is social media? Okay, and so a long time I was like trying to explain that to them, you know, in words. So finally somebody, a good friend of mine, sent me this video, and I'm going to play it to you, and this is the perfect analogy of social media. Okay, I got a ringer in the room. This never happens to me, but I'm going to ask you a question. What was that language? You can't answer. What? Not French. Language. Anybody know what that language was? Swedish? Hebrew? Anyone that's there? So I have a unique situation here. A good friend of mine's here. And what language was that, Stephen? It's Irish. Yeah. So thank you for coming. Well, now why do I use that video? Okay? This is why I use that video. This is what social media is. It's a language that seems familiar to you, very familiar to you, but you just don't quite understand it. The song you probably heard it as a child. It's the cup song. And then the cup is content. And you're passing it around over and over again so that it gets bigger and bigger and starts to ring and ring and ring. And then it becomes a life of its own. And then at the end, you have a big party. It's the simplest way to explain social media. Social media is really about going to kindergarten. When you want to think like a child, you'll become good at social media. So a little bit what we're going to cover today. LinkedIn for Nonprofits is going to give you access to your supporter zone networks. It's going to allow your organization to gain donors. It's going to allow your organization to grow and find the right people. And it's going to allow your organization to help you find other nonprofit professionals around the nation, globally, internationally. LinkedIn is the global phone book. When LinkedIn was created, You have this thing called the phone book. Remember that, right? You pick it up. Now it looks like a dinosaur. Then, LinkedIn was before Google. LinkedIn's before Facebook. Now, I'll give you an idea about social media. I'm going to pull back the onion on the history of social media for you. There would be no Facebook without LinkedIn. Zero. This is how Facebook got created. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn. They all came from PayPal. Got that PayPal mafia over there, they call it. And the people that came out of PayPal said, you can use credit cards on the internet and buy things on the internet. Y'all remember that? Yeah, you can, because we just take that for granted. You can buy things on the internet, right? Well, that was the company that created it. And the board that came out of that all became multi-billionaires, all of them. And one of them was Reid Hoffman, who created LinkedIn. The first investor in Facebook was Reid Hoffman. He gave $100,000 to Mark Zuckerberg. Now, he didn't go all in. What he did was when Zuckerberg came from East Coast to West Coast, he introduced him as boss at PayPal, the billionaire. That's the guy in the movie. That's the one that gave them millions of dollars to create Facebook. There would be no Facebook without LinkedIn. So, when the whole world talks to you about this is the best system to use, I want to remind you of something. Every time Facebook makes money, the founder of LinkedIn gets rich. So there's really no comparison when they own each other, is there? And now they're literally, I own stock because they're publicly traded entities. So it's not comparing YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn. They own each other. They're making money off you about your data. So here's how I've used LinkedIn and how I'm going to help you and nonprofits use LinkedIn. Every Fortune 500 company is inside LinkedIn. Every one of them. Every major CEO, every major vice president generally has a LinkedIn profile and is inside LinkedIn, inside their corporation. I'll give you an idea of my network. This is some of the people in my network. This is Claire. She's the vice president of social innovation at Twitter. Well, it's LinkedIn. You're not getting Twitter? Well, I'm already inside the actual corporation of Twitter, inside LinkedIn. This is the founder of Craigslist. He's one of my contacts. You guys have heard of Craigslist, right? Another one of my contacts is here in San Diego. He's a pretty well-known figure. He created the Chopra Foundation. He is Deepak Chopra. He's huge on LinkedIn. He's got his own network on LinkedIn and his own connectivity group on LinkedIn. This is the vice president of marketing at Univision. Just recently, I trained Univision sales executives on how to use LinkedIn. And then locally here, we have the head of web and e-commerce at Sony. I'm inside Sony. I have only like 10 vice presidents, CEOs inside Sony. I can get access to Sony anytime I want. Can you do that in real life? So here's what I'm saying. This is what LinkedIn is. I know you. You know me. You know a bunch of people over here, right? You would like to introduce me to them. And you could probably introduce me to 5 people in the room right now, right? But I'll introduce you to 1,000 people in minutes. I network on steroids in very high volumes. And I connect at very high volumes. And the bigger I get, the more the vice president and CEOs want of me. So. Hold on. Okay, so what's really important to understand about LinkedIn is that it's a search engine inside of a search engine. So you need to have your own personal URL. You own your name inside LinkedIn, and you can use that anywhere. You can use it in email. You can put it on your business card. You can use anything that makes a hyperlink of your profile and share it globally anywhere. That's the first thing you really need to do in LinkedIn is own your name. Then share that in email, social media outlets, and everywhere you go, because then it becomes a life of its own. It starts sharing automatically. Now, from the people that want to have donors and access to people who have access to money and capital, this is what you do. you're going to virtually get inside every company. And what you're going to do is actually, in the company area of LinkedIn, you can search any company you wish. Be it IBM, Sony, any major corporation, you can just search their name. They pop up. And their entire team falls under their listing. So this includes CEO level to vice level to mid-level. I connect always to the top and then to the middle. I always connect vice president, CEO, high level. This is why I do it. Because the power, and I've told you earlier, the power of LinkedIn is not in the first degree. It's not that you're connected to me. Right? At my level, I am not concerned that you're connected to me. I want to know who you know. That's where I manipulate data. I know your entire social circle. Now, in the other world, when I was opening hotels and restaurants, my job was literally to take business from other people. I went and took their corporate contracts, and I handed them to their competitors. There you are. There's your 5 top contracts. I did it without them even knowing I did it. Now, it's a little soulless. That's why I do what I do now. Help people. Taking people out of business is not fun. Right? But it's the corporate world. Right? So I'm now here helping nonprofits. Another reason, right? I'm empowering people to do that. So what I'm telling you right now is that the data of businesses is easily accessible to you through LinkedIn. This is what you can do in LinkedIn you can't do in Facebook, you can't do in Twitter, you can't do in anywhere else. Is you literally can do strategic messages to 50 influential people over and over again, 50 at a time, all day long. You can sit in your office and write an email to them about your organization, and you can send them to 50 vice presidents and CEOs over and over again. You can do it in 400 people in one day. That's steroids, networking on steroids. Okay? So that kind of gives you a little idea where I'm talking about in the donor aspect of the area, right? You contact and you structure corporations, businesses that are actually donors. The wealth management in here, all in LinkedIn. The people that are all in LinkedIn. You have a question?
So you're saying you don't need to be connected to people on LinkedIn?
You do have to be first level to send them an email. However, you do not have to do that directly. There's another way to do it. I can go through Stephen to find out who Stephen knows. And Stephen can introduce me to them virtually. There's a domino effect. I do an introduction to Stephen. Stephen says, I would like to meet, this person that you know, virtually. And you're then going to write a recommendation to me, and that person's going to go virtually to them. And then when they respond, I am now in conversation with them virtually. Go ahead. No. Now, I will say that LinkedIn recently changed their algorithm. And I'm going to talk about what's the algorithm behind LinkedIn. I mean, I'm basically a beta tester of LinkedIn, so I know things that the company says I'm not supposed to tell people that. But yeah, just
Sometimes I can connect with people, and then sometimes it bumps it and it brings up the screen where it wants you to put in where you went down.
Yeah, you're going to have, and today, I never get that. You know why? LinkedIn thinks I'm on a computer. So I can only connect with you if I have your email. I'm permanently restricted. My account's been restricted for years.
It's also restricted recently on the website and join or
Well, this is the algorithm that changed. LinkedIn got smart. They figured out some people like me that are really good at data, they weren't paying for it. And they were getting access to everything. Everything. So what they have done, in effect, is say if you have to get a minimum paid account in order to do a large-scale search. You still can do a small-scale search, but a large-scale search, you need to have a minimum paid account. So today, I normally have not used paid accounts. I went to over 20,000 without ever paying for anything. I've only paid when I had a client that wanted me to go after a certain thing, and then I used a paid account. But I've never done that. The only reason I'm saying that today, because this is very recent, it's like in the last week, they have changed their algorithm. Now, what does the algorithm mean? That's a fancy word, right? It's like, algorithm. business model, right? Yeah, the way that it works online. Here's the algorithm behind LinkedIn. And this is what LinkedIn's not going to tell you. Okay, you ready? LinkedIn's not going to tell you this. The algorithm behind LinkedIn is in your zip code data. When you join LinkedIn, you joined it under your zip code. Okay? And how you do advanced searches is by shifting zip code data. Where are you going to target? So, for example, you're trying to go after Silicon Valley. You have certain zip code data there, right? You start looking at the zip code data in Silicon Valley, and then you start looking vice president CEOs, and you might get target down. And you break it down to our target list of 10 people. Could be Apple, right? People. Could be those people in technology sectors, those in financer sectors, those in nonprofit sectors. Okay? I'm dealing with data scientists is what I'm dealing with, right? Shifting data around to get access to things very quickly. Did that answer your question? Did it, you're looking at it. Okay, you're looking at it. Okay. So I told you about advanced targeting companies and executives, but I just want to look at you, see where you're at right here, right? The algorithm behind LinkedIn is like Google in a way. It's on mega tagging. You know, by the way, my page is 26 pages long. So you think that's a resume? You're wrong. You think that's an online resume? You're wrong. I'm mega tagging everything to me to attract people to me. When people say they use mega tagging, it's specialized words that directly reflect what you're trying to accomplish and have people attract you. As if you're writing the story of your life. And that's what LinkedIn is, the story of your professional life. So the advanced search area, you're going to go over here. You do keyword searching. You can do any amount of it. You can do title search, and then you use zip code data. See the zip code data? And you can do that internationally. You can do it all over the United States. And you can get access to anybody in those levels, companies, schools, that you want. Questions behind here? Yes? Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to turn it. I just gave that scenario earlier. I'm going to turn the prospecting into networking. Okay? Well, here's the strange thing about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is called LinkedIn for a reason. It's about linking. And so when people join it and they are not into linking, they don't do very well. And I mean, you know, it's funny, right? But it's true, right? I mean, you join LinkedIn because you want to link with people, right? And then there are two types of LinkedIn users. There are people that use it for a virtual Rolodex of their virtual contacts, right? And there are people like me. I'm a spoke in a wheel. You have to go through me to get access to a lot of people. And I am going to connect to a lot of people. I mean, my only goal is before I die to know everybody. You can do it on a mobile version. It's a little slower. I mean, I use it in laptop more often than I do mobile. But you can do it on the mobile. It's a little, you know, more tedious. You have two options. You can say no one else can see it, or you can let everybody see it. I always let everybody see it, by the way. I'm a complete open book. My entire life is online. Now, I work for the government. Let me explain this for a second. If you think for 1 minute that you have privacy on the internet, you're delusional. You have two choices, right? You control your personal brand, or other people buy your data and they use it against you. Because they're all buying your data right now. Every time you're on Facebook, they're taking your data. You control your personal brand by controlling it. You literally tell the story of your life, and you control your image. You are branding yourself. It is self-branding. And by self-branding, you are controlling the aspect of your life. You can wait for things to happen to you, or you can make things happen for you. This is an empowerment tool. That's what it is. I mean, think about who you can get access to. And who doesn't get access to other people? You ever been in the golf course, right, where they say, hey, this business deal is going on with these two guys? Boom. Well, they don't know. I just took their contracts. That was my previous life, right? They don't know. I just took their top contract. They don't know it was worth $1 million, and now their competitors got it. So you deal in the world of data. This is what it is. We're dealing in a world of data. Anybody done communications? Okay, you have AT&T, you have those. What do they cost the most? Your data plan. Why is data so expensive? They're selling your data. They're selling you back data so you can make money off of your information. And then they tell you your information is so valuable, we're going to charge you more money for it. Well, of what I can say is your data is really about you as an entity. You exist as a physical person with all the emotions and realities of your life, but you are controlled by your social security number, your access to government access, your access to benefits, if you're how you buy a house, all the things that are public in your life is always public about there. There's very few things in your life which are private on the internet. Really. Very few things. For somebody like me, it's not secure. But for most people, it is secure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is where we're going. They're studying your habits and your behaviors, and then they're targeting products and services to them. That's already in testing right now, where you literally walk in with your phone into a retail location, and they're studying where you're buying and what you bought. And then they're doing geolocation on you. In fact, that's geolocation. Your zip code data is geolocation. We know where you live. You live in this general direction, right? So we can then mega tag you into that. Okay, well, no, I don't want to get people scared with that stuff. What I'm saying basically is the data can help you, and I use the data to empower people. I use the data to empower people. If you know this, what I just told you, there's no reason not to control your brand. There's no reason not to control the data, and there's no reason not to connect to other people. Important part of LinkedIn is that you do have a company page, because I'm telling you it's a global phone book. And by being a global phone book, you need to be found inside that phone book. If you're not found inside that phone book, you're kind of incomplete online.
So I'm here at the Apple Store working on the presentation for you guys, showing how important it is on your LinkedIn profile to add video and pics specifically to your profile to enhance your presentation to everybody on the internet.
Just get that email. I want to do some notes.
Did you know you could do that? Some people knew, some people didn't. Are you fully taking advantage of that? That means your entire company, your videos, the video you just created over here, your nonprofit, can be shared by your entire network. Everywhere. If you have 1,000 contacts, 1,000 people's going to see that video. You can also do all of your, there's two stories going on LinkedIn. There's a written algorithm story with mega tagging, and then there's a visual story of your life. And that visual story of your life is, those two things are attracting people to you.
How long is the video? Do you have to upload a LinkedIn, or is it like a link to YouTube or video?
It's a directly, it can be a YouTube, it can be any format. It's a direct link, and it stays permanently until you delete it. You can put webinars up, yes.
Mega tag or meta? Because I was familiar with meta tag.
Yeah, I use Meta. Yeah, but you get it, yeah. Yes. Yeah, your company page has certain advantages. One, it puts you in the global phone book. Yes, it puts you in the global phone book, more than just your name, right? More than your personal brand. And the other thing is that you can update it and send out information about upcoming events, upcoming promotions, everything inside your business page that you can share as a feed, but you can't make it permanent. You know, it feeds on, but you can make it more permanent inside your business page. You can feed it just like you feed Facebook. There's a Facebook area. You can feed that off, but you can make announcements, and that goes out to everybody, and people can follow you, like they follow you, like they can follow your business. Yeah, they can follow your business. Yes. Did I have another question? Okay. Okay. So what does this mean? Do I work just in the world of LinkedIn? I don't really work just in the world of LinkedIn, but I use LinkedIn as my primary format because I know the data is there. So what I'm doing is shifting influential people back into my network. And I'm doing that by sharing all that into Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the endless amount of other social medias that are out there, right? All of them I can share data into and share content into based on LinkedIn. Now recently LinkedIn had a powerful little thing they created, which was LinkedIn blogs. So you can now blog on LinkedIn, and you can share that to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube immediately. Very simple blogging, actually. And it started this way because LinkedIn started making this area called influencers. And they were very high corporate, important people, including like Deepak Chopra and those kind of people. And they started writing content for LinkedIn. LinkedIn became a content provider, which wasn't the same thing it was created for. And then they said, why don't we just open it up to everybody? And we'll let everybody be a content provider. Okay, here's something really, really powerful on LinkedIn. If you have a goal on LinkedIn of getting donors, of getting access to certain things, of getting advice, here's the power of LinkedIn. Like, I'm a business consultant, right? I'm a business growth strategist. So if I have a question about something in my life, I can literally go to my network in Chicago, New York, Miami, Vancouver, Mexico City, and ask them the same question. Where can you do that? I can get consulting advice for free globally. Yeah, that's transformational information. We're dealing in a world where this is how fast a business can move, any kind of business, a nonprofit or anything. It moves based on good information. I got good advice, and I got good information to move forward with my problem. This is the only network where you could literally do that with people who have no competition with you in other geographic locations, and could be 20 or 30 years in their business. So they have no reason not to answer your question. It's magic. It will allow you to solve problems immensely. So here I said, right? So here's the other part of groups that I didn't say, right? You can join up to 50 groups in LinkedIn. You can leverage those inside there. There's two things you can do with groups you cannot do in Facebook, can't do anywhere else but in LinkedIn. And that is you can create your own group, and you can organize professionals around the target you want of your goals. So you can literally create a group about donors for your nonprofit.
I'd like to share something about that. Actually, I hired Shaun to help me out with my LinkedIn, and one of the things he had me do was create a group. And I'm thinking, why would anybody want to be in my group? But immediately, I want to say within the first day, I had about 100 people who were in my nonprofit network group on LinkedIn, and that was just Shaun teaching me how to use it. Like, I knew it was there, but I never thought that I could be a thought leader, a leader in anything, but Shaun really helped me see that I can be a leader. By being the leader of a group, you then become a leader. It's just automatic. People look up to you because you started a LinkedIn group. I mean, it's really simple, Just wanted to share that.
Yeah. And, the other thing that you can do is you can join mega groups. So I just wanted to, give you an idea of mega groups. Okay, so there's a social media for nonprofits organizations, has 72,000 people in it. You think you can get some good advice in there? You can't, because they're all over the United States globally. So you've got major nonprofit organizations, people that have been in business and doing it for a very long time. You can get you can take them into your network, or you can ask them advice. Solve problems quick. You have a whole advisory board for nonprofits with 2,400 people in it. High-level people in nonprofit sectors. You have nonprofit solutions by LinkedIn itself, which allows you to do special things inside of LinkedIn. LinkedIn created something just for nonprofits. Then you have the whole nonprofit marketing sector with 53,000 people in there talking about how to market a nonprofit. That can solve a lot of problems quick. The most important part of LinkedIn is your photo, and then how you describe yourself. That's part of the mega tagging in there and part of the search algorithm of LinkedIn. So, I'm a business growth strategist, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. And I always recommend it, you're not just the CEO of this or the vice president of this or the founder of this, but you're many things. Because in your life, you're more than one thing. You're more than one expertise. You're more than one thing. Tell the things you are. That's what attracts people to you. Okay? So the executive summary is then the most powerful. This is where people get nothing out of LinkedIn. They don't do their summary and they get nothing out of LinkedIn. They don't tell people how to contact them, how to get a phone number. This is where you put it. This is exactly what you do. You exactly tell them how to contact you, like kindergarten. When you don't do that, you'll get nothing out of LinkedIn. The summary is the most important part of LinkedIn. And it needs to answer two questions. Why are you on LinkedIn? What are you doing there? What's the purpose of it? Right? Yeah. What's the purpose of it? For your company, your business? What's your purpose? Think like kindergarten. You have to tell people what you want, and then you will get what you want. Okay, so here's why I was talking about the professional portfolio. I have a 26-page long. It's an algorithm. So people say, no, that's not it's 2 or 3 pages long, right? No, it's 26 pages long. And then I have a complete visual story of my entire life in it. Where I went to school, who I did what I did with it, who the people I helped, who the people I've been working with, who the people I worked for, like Travelocity. I promote Travelocity, right? They just got bought by Expedia, by the way. So, wasn't when I was there, but. Okay, this is another powerful thing people don't consider. But the alumni groups in LinkedIn are super powerful. Every major university is inside LinkedIn, and their alumni groups are all inside of LinkedIn. So we went to college with somebody, you knew somebody like that, you can get to know them again, get back to them, see what they're doing with their lives, and see how they can help you and you can help them. Another part of LinkedIn that's really, really powerful, probably the most powerful part of it, is to give recommendations to people. I'm a big giver. I give recommendations all the time to people. I give a lot of recommendations. Now, recommendations are different than endorsements. Recommendations are permanently on your profile. And it says you're recommending someone else's work. I recommend that if you work together in nonprofits, you all are recommending each other. Because it is a mega tag and relays certainly on the internet. And this is Linda, giving me a recommendation. Well, thank you very much. Okay. The picture is very important. You should look like you're Skyping right in the face. You are looking at somebody right in the face. It's not this way, it's not backward, it's not distant, it's not you on a horse. It's not those things. Yeah.
Does it look all that different? Why black and white versus color? Is that a research choice?
Well, my professional photographer's here, and he took that photo. So if you want to, I'm just saying, but he's really good. But no. It looks like that on the background area because it's a silver over. Though I do have colored images, but I chose that one. Yes.
Can I answer that real quick?
Yeah.
So in this image, we took several, and this was downtown San Diego. The reason this one's black and white is because he had such a high leg to the left side, it gave him a good characteristic. It gave him almost an empowering sense when it becomes black and white. If you saw the same image in color, you would see all the greens and it was kind of super friendly. So his face seems to blunt in this photo.
Yeah. And I think that's very important to look at. I mean, what you're saying is the algorithm is really looking at you. You're Skyping with people. You're looking people right in the face. If you're not doing that, you're really kind of looking like you're virtually ignoring them. Yeah. And people that know that they kind of get turned off by it, even visually turned off by it. Okay, so what happens here today, right? Half of the people in this room are connected to me already. More than half, right? Well, did you know that I just really want to know your network? I just want to know who you know. Right? Now, let's say you have a somewhat restricted network. Guess what? You got the wrong guy, because I know what your network is. I can do reverse lookups on any network and find out anybody you know. Now, the person that did beta test that can't do that, because they don't think about beta testing that, right? That's called reverse searching of people's data. And then you see and find out whose networks are. So if you think your network's private, somebody like me, it's not. Okay, so I want to talk about this. This is a really, really important part of LinkedIn. This is the algorithm. There's 6 degrees of separation. Remember that movie with Kevin Bacon? Okay, this is how LinkedIn started, right? It's based on 3 degrees of separation. I know you, you know me, right? And right now we're not connected, so you're second to me. And then you have a bunch of people third to you, which are, second to you, but then third to me, right? So my job is to get all your second degree. And that's what I'm doing with all these vice president CEOs. I'm second in their second degree. Because when I need an introduction to somebody they know, that's what I do. I cash it in. And I get introductions to somebody they know. And I lose their equity, their leverage to do it. Because this is the social circles we live in. The social circles is the people you know, the people you've worked with, the people you admire, and how they all work together. That's called that social graph that Facebook made up that came from LinkedIn. Okay? And so how those all work together is how things get done in the world. I mean, really, you meet people, and you know that they do this kind of work, and they do this kind of work, and then you all want to start doing work together. Right? That's how the world actually works. So the second level is right here. Now this is an idea when I just want to show you. You see this guy? He's the CEO of Twitter. His network goes all the way out here, right? All these other CEOs. So his social network is a big social network because he's the CEO of Twitter, right? So he surrounds himself with certain influential people. Social society is about social influence. And LinkedIn is about access to social influence. So there's my URL, see? Can go anywhere. I can paste that anywhere, I can put it anywhere. People can see my entire life. Yeah, it will. You just edit and you put your name, and then it becomes a permanent URL.
So you want to set the CEO of Twitter. You're like, here's all these people he's connected to. How do you get the CEO of Twitter and say, yeah, that's me, he doesn't know me.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any kind of tools that you say, hey, I want to share mine with you, or what's your way to get to say, yes, I'll be your number one?
There's 2 ways to get access to the highest level people. You get access to their networks, you play in their golf courses, you play in their places where they live and they move, and you do that virtually. You get their best friends, right? You get the people they know, their assistants, and then you get them. Some of them, at my level, will just come to me because they're looking, and I know 15 people they know. I'm a pretty good, valuable person to meet. I know 15 person they know, and they know and respect all those 15 people. So they're very likely to connect to me. Right. So you're going to do the virtual backdoor area, right? You're going to start connecting to their network. And then you're going to see, because here's the strange world we live in. That CEO is actually talking to somebody in New York, right? And they're doing business, or they're friends, or there's something like that. And then they see that you're now connected to that person in New York. And then you're connected to the 3 people they also do business with in Miami. We're talking interglobal connectivity here. Okay?
But part of that is, part of that is like, I guess people want to connect to me, and I don't know who they are. I see their name, I go, I know who they are. Is there ever a bad connection for LinkedIn? Is it all good, like, everybody you know connect with? Or is there a bad connection? Like, oh, they're just trying to fill my network. What do you think?
Well, when I get calls from the FBI, I know I did something wrong. But That's a joke I put out, but that's true. So, you know, I know that guy, I should not have connected to that guy. But that's a little joke, I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I don't view it as that. Now, I know shadow figures. For example, I can see something that's fake. I've been around a long time and say that's fake. Did you know, I mean, even intelligence uses that to get inside countries, right? I mean, it was on TV. You know, they used that to get inside of people's networks, and the intelligence made fake profiles, and they used intelligence to get inside of like ambassadors and profiles and all that stuff. I don't deal in that world, but that's an extreme example. What I'm saying is that you build your equity by knowing who knows who. And if you keep building your equity over the lifetime of your life, it gets so much easier. Very few people will want to come to me. Very few people deny me. Because I know so many people they know. I had many other questions here.
So to clarify, when you set up your profile, LinkedIn assigns you a URL in that.
You have to edit it to make it a URL, a personal URL. So when you edit, you'll see the name right there. It's a long extension. You click it, and you make it into your personal name.
And then when you send a mail to someone, then you can list that on there so they can see your profile.
It's a permanent link. Yeah.
Trying to get emails to send them my resume. So
Yeah.
I've already got it on there and I just didn't know.
Right. Yeah, it's a permanent link. You can link it to anything and anywhere. Yes.
So, do you have, in addition to your URL and your personal company?
I handle other companies. So I make a lot of company pages for other people. So my network sometimes is private based on the work I do. I mean, my company network. Because sometimes I'm working for people creating their business image.
So if I have a business card, then I would have a link to my personal name as well as my company.
Yes. Yeah, definitely a recommendation. And you got to consider that you're putting like the icons, right? But this is a direct link. They just have to type it in and it pops up. So it's a direct link. It's very good interactively, but you can put it on your business card as well. Yes, ma'am.
Your site or the LinkedIn, like the tutorial,
I work in a unique way. I work one-on-one with people. I do give out tips and I do write blogs, but this is the way I view things. I replace myself. I'm not a consultant or a business agency that bills people ongoing. You know what I mean? I basically make you me. Yeah, and this is the power of it. I want you to have 30,000 contacts. Because if you have 30,000 contacts, I have all those second-degree contacts. I mean, it's a big win-win for me. Make sense? So we're closing, and if we have any there. So now the other side of it, the reason I work with nonprofits and what I do is that I live my life now by this. After doing what I've done, I'm always about giving back and gratitude. So I am a big giver now. I help a lot of people, and I believe in living that way. And this is, what I'm all about. So let's see if we can get it.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. if you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. We just think of the weather. And even of the weather, we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, has unique weather. Maybe a kind that will never exactly in that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that is right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world, flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there is electric light. You turn a faucet and there is warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you. That everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
I guess, at some point when I was taking people out of business, I had like one of those moments in life where you said, no more. I had enough. And that's when I became different. I said, look, I'm going to take this power I have right now, I'm going to help people with it. And that's what I do now. A lot better.
Thank you so much, Shaun. Let's hear it for Shaun. That was amazing. And I want to say that Shaun actually does do what he says. I mean, it's amazing what he did to help promote this event tonight. And he just tireless. I was like, I can't keep up with this guy. I don't know how he does it. I was like, usually I'm pretty good, but you were like really stiff competition. So thank you for that. But thank you so much. This was really incredible. Shaun and I are working on putting together workshops 3 times a year. LinkedIn, like really heavy, intensive 6-hour workshops, getting you in there and like teaching you every bit about it, like what you can do and how you can increase your donations, how you can increase your business.
Yeah, your pretty face conceals the waste inside. You're fortunate to waste another life. Well, I'm back.